Welcome to Why on Earth, searching for understanding, meaning, and purpose. Today's episode, elites versus populists. Whose plans will prevail? The 55th World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland was held during the week of January 20th to 24th, 2025. The main theme was billed as collaboration for the intelligent age, but the 5 days were focused on the same matters as in prior years: rebuilding trust, reimagining growth, safeguarding the planet, investing in people and industries of the intelligent age. The first 3 days seemed to go swimmingly. Those invited elites from world governments, multinational corporations, industries, science, education were supported by the media covering the annual event and concluding that the many presentations could solve what ails the world. In fact, much of the agenda and presentations were merely fresh ways of expressing the same tired and failing agenda of environmental, social justice, governance, ESG, that would produce a green revolution within a socialist world fueled by stakeholder capitalism. According to the cheerleading mainstream media, there was real progress toward achieving these goals. Reuters reported these takeaways from WEF 55. Iran chose Davos to tell the world that it was now ready to renegotiate a nuclear deal, and it had no ambition or intention of building a nuclear bomb and posed no threat to its neighbors or the world. Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky declared that he would need 200,000 European peacekeepers as a condition for any ceasefire with Russia. Of course, Russia publicly rejected that notion. And he's trying to line up investors for a $500 billion reconstruction effort in Ukraine. In discussing corporations and nations that have backtracked on climate commitments, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres declared that our fossil fuel addiction is a Frankenstein monster, sparing nothing and no one. All around us, we see clear signs that the monster has become master. Recent moves to eradicate DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, particularly in the U.S., were said to have reverberated through the corridors in Davos, where gender parity, diverse workforces, and better representations of minorities are key WEF goals. The subsequent ditching of diversity programs left some searching for new words to describe workplace practices they say are essential to their businesses. Chinese business executives and investors raised big concerns about further deterioration in the bilateral relationship between the world's two largest economies, China and the U.S. Economic exceptionalism was an oft-used phrase as President Trump's policies seem to be rallying animal spirits that prompt more deal-making between nations and sectors. And of course, there was speculation that artificial intelligence, particularly AI agents, used to automate tasks in the workplace, and how the workforce will be thereby impacted. There was much discussed about the scale and the complexity of AI models and how the vast energy resources required to power them would dramatically affect geopolitics. With the backdrop of the stark fragility of mainstay European Union governments, France and Germany and Austria, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde rated the global economic challenges facing Europe as an existential threat. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen wanted deregulation within the EU to speed up so that business would find it easier to operate within the Union instead of being attracted to move outside of Europe. There were definite risks and challenges in the world, but the WEF and its cast of executives, politicians, delegates, invitees, attendees seemed confident that they were reminded and updated on sure solutions to a world in disarray. But then, on January 23rd, day 4, came two speakers considered populists in the West. In the morning, it was Argentinian President Javier Milei that addressed the WEF, and in the afternoon, U.S. President Donald Trump spoke to the forum. Most of the glowing media summaries of the week's discussions and speeches do not even mention President Milei's speech, but it was truly an indictment on those who hold to the ideas and policies proffered by the WEF. His rhetoric was focused on the damage that wokeism has done to the West. He called it a murderous ideology that is worshipped as if it were a golden calf. His description included such phraseology as equality before the law has been redefined based on social status. Environmentalism has become environmental fanaticism. Gender ideology abuses children. Merit has been cast aside for diversity. Immigration has been perverted from national interest to national guilt. President Milei colorfully described the effects of wokeism in this way. The common denominator for the countries that are failing is a mental virus of woke ideology. It is the great pandemic of our time that needs to be cured. It is a cancer that must be cut out. He asserted that the beneficiaries of woke ideology were privileged corporations, bankers, most media outlets, indoctrination centers disguised as universities, state bureaucracies, unions, social organizations, and crony businesses that have been thriving on tax monies. One statement that President Milei made that probably did not win him any favor among the audience. At some point, he said, in the 20th century, we lost our way. Socialism for the masses, concentration of wealth for the elites. To the WEF delegates, probably the most offensive words may have been, this organization has been the ideologues of this barbarity, and no one here can feign innocence. Then came the much anticipated speech by the U.S. president, who had been inaugurated only 3 days earlier. At the start, Mr. Trump stated, we began the golden age of America, and what the world has witnessed in the past 72 hours is nothing less than a revolution of common sense. He did spend some time on the damaging policies of the previous U.S. administration, nation-wrecking energy restrictions, crippling regulations, hidden taxes, sky-high interest rates, through-the-roof food prices and other commodities. But since the theme of the WEF 55 was collaboration for the intelligent age, particularly industries of the intelligent age, it was apt that President Trump expressed his vision that the United States will be the capital of artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency, a manufacturing superpower that would require double the energy being produced currently. Mr. Trump shared his plan for industry. Come, make your product in America and take advantage of lower taxes and cost of operation. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then we will collect hundreds of billions of dollars from you, even trillions, to put into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down our debt. The last thing the avowed enviro activist WEF wanted to hear was his thoughts on energy. We will ask the Saudis and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. With oil prices going down, I'll demand interest rates drop immediately in the U.S. and around the world. President Trump also touted his invasion-stopping measures at its southern border with Mexico, the end of censorship, the end of weaponization of law enforcement, the end of all discriminatory DEI nonsense. As he concluded, Mr. Trump left Europe with yet another burden to consider. As we restore common sense in America, we're moving quickly to bring back strength and peace and stability abroad. I'm going to ask all NATO nations to increase defense spending to 5% of GDP, which is what it should have been years ago. Within 1 week, in January 2025, there were visions expressed, schemes hatched, and plans outlined. The World Economic Forum has been working with the world's elites to change the world to their design for 5.5 decades. But their plans quite obviously clash with those of populist leaders and forces in the West who are intent on dispensing with ideas often expressed in three-letter acronyms like ESG and DEI that have proven ineffective and even destructive. An important biblical principle that is overlooked by all parties as they plot and scheme and plan is found in Psalm 33, verses 10 to 11 of the Bible. Reading from the New Living Translation, The Lord frustrates the plans of the nations and thwarts all their schemes. But the Lord's plans stand forever. His intentions can never be shaken. Verse 13. The Lord looks down from heaven and sees the whole human race from his throne, and he observes all who live on earth. He made their hearts, so he understands everything that they do. In brief, God's plan is to send Jesus Christ to assume control over all the earth and administer his government on the planet forever. That is his firm intention, which cannot be withstood. I thank you for watching Why on Earth. Please be sure to view our other videos on this platform or come to our website at whyonearth.ca to view our narrated articles and other features to assist you in your life's journey. Goodbye for now.